Did you know that your bank may have given your business too much PPP funds and that your business may have to pay part or all of the PPP loan back? Thank you for watching this video. We are Freedomtax Accounting. We're an accounting firm where we have been providing quality tax and accounting services now for over 20 years. If you're new to this channel, we provide the best tax and accounting strategies for small business owners so they can achieve their financial goals. The last couple of weeks, we have been concentrating on the PPP and EIDL loan programs. And today is October 7th, and we always emphasize the date of the recording of these videos regarding the SBA loans, because if you have been following the saga of the PPP program, you know that it has been constantly changing. So there may be things we discuss in this video that may change as soon as tomorrow. That's the importance of subscribing to our channel, where we are doing our best to bring you the most up-to-date and correct information regarding these SBA loans. Now, what will we talk about in this video? We will talk about why the banks made a lot of mistakes during the PPP loan application, the most common PPP application mistakes that we have seen that the banks have made, how to check if you got the correct PPP loan amount, how will this affect your PPP forgiveness process, and what to do if you got more PPP funds than eligible. So that's all we're going to talk about in this video. But before that, remember that this video is intended for educational purposes and should not be taken as legal or tax advice. You should consult with your financial professional about your unique situation before acting on anything discussed in this video. Freedomtax Accounting nor its members can't be held liable for any use or misuse of this information. Now, the thing is, the banks made a lot of mistakes in the PPP application process, and the end result is that many got a lot more PPP funds that they were eligible for. Now, where do we get this information from? Basically, we have been working with our clients in the PPP program since April. So it's been a couple of months now. We have worked hundreds of PPP applications, and we have given a lot of consultations as well. And this information is based on what we have seen in hundreds and hundreds of consultations about the mistakes we have seen banks have made. Now, we do not blame the banks. Even though it should be their fault, we really don't blame them. Why? The CARES Act, which was the first stimulus package for the coronavirus, was passed in March 27th. The CARES Act provided the rules for the PPP loan program. Now, banks started accepting PPP loan applications on April 3rd. That means that's 5 business days after the program was approved. The banks only had 5 business days to prepare themselves for the loan program. So we really feel this program was done so fast that the banks did not have enough time to prepare their staff. Actually, I remember in May and June, we have good relationships with a lot of bank managers in this area. They were calling us because they didn't know a lot of the PPP rules. So this led to many mistakes in the PPP loan application. Now, what are some of the most common mistakes we have seen the banks did during the PPP loan application process that led to your business or many businesses to get higher amounts of PPP funds that they were eligible for? The first example is, we've seen this a lot, is if you're self-employed, independent contractor, or a sole proprietor, a single member LLC, basically anyone that files the Schedule C in their tax return to report their business taxes. And the common mistake was that the banks did the PPP formula with line number 1 instead of line 31. What does that mean? Remember that the PPP formula for self-employed was to take line 31 of your Schedule C, divide by 12, and multiply by 2.5. We saw that most banks, instead of using line 31, they used line 1. What's the difference? Line 1 is your gross sales. Line 31 is your net profit. So obviously line 1 is a lot higher number compared to line 31. So when the banks took the gross sales and did the PPP formula, you got a lot more funds than you were supposed to. That's one of the most common mistakes we have seen the banks made with the PPP loan application. Okay? Now, if you are a C Corp or an S Corporation, one of the most common mistakes was that the banks counted your 1099 contractors as payroll, as employees. And this is wrong. Why? Because if you are a C Corp or an S Corp, how do you know that? If you look at your 2019 business tax return, if on the top left you see the 1120 number or 1120S, then you know you are a C Corp or an S Corporation. So the PPP formula for C Corps and S Corps is based out of the 2019 payroll report. Now, independent contractors, which are people that at the end of the year, you give them a 1099, those are not employees. Your employees, you pay them through payroll, and at the end of the year, they get a W-2. They don't get a 1099. So a lot of banks just told C Corps and S Corps, let me see all the 1099s, thinking that they were employees. So this was another common mistake done by the banks. So for example, we have seen a lot of S Corp owners. For example, we have a lot of S corporations as clients that the owner is the only employee. The owner is the only one who pays himself through payroll. But then he has maybe 10 contractors. So they gave him the PPP loan amount based on his payroll and the 10 other contractors he has. So whatever he paid for the contractor should not have been in the PPP loan application formula. So that's why they got more PPP than they should have. Okay. Now, in our experience, this miscalculation was done by common regular banks, meaning your regular physical bank like Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, your credit union, your local banks, like physical brick and mortar banks. Okay, this is where we have seen where a lot of the mistakes were made. We have not seen this mistake on online lenders like Cabbage, Lendio, Fundera, Bluevine. We have not seen these mistakes be done by those types of PPP lenders. Okay, but you should always check. Now, how do you check if you got the correct PPP loan amount? I think this is what everyone needs to be doing right now. Before applying for forgiveness, you need to check if you got the correct PPP loan amount according to PPP rules. And we're going to show you the correct PPP loan application formula. Now, if you're self-employed, independent contractor, sole proprietor, single member LLC, basically any business that files their tax return on the Schedule C. Okay? Basically, you take line 31 of your 2019 Schedule C, and this is another common mistake, is that banks allowed people to apply for PPP using their 2018 Schedule C. And that's not the correct one. It's the 2019 Schedule C up to $100,000. So basically, take a look at your Schedule C for 2019. You take a look at line 31. Whatever number is there up to $100,000. Meaning that if in line 31, if you see $125,000, you do not use $125,000, you use $100,000. That's the max number you can use. You take line 31, you divide that number by 12, and then you multiply by 2.5. And that's how you get your correct PPP loan amount that you are eligible for. Okay? For example, let's say that in line 31, you see $45,000. You divide by 12, you multiply by 2.5, you get $9,375. This is the correct PPP loan amount that you should have received by your bank. Now, if you are a C Corp or an S Corp, and once again, if you're a C Corp, you file business taxes with Form 1120. The S Corps file with Form 1120S. You take your 2019 940 and you look at line 3. Okay, and once again with 2019, not 2018. So you take a look at your 2019 940 report. This is a payroll report that you have to send to the government every year in the month of January, where basically it's the total of the prior year's total wages that you paid your employees. So you take your 2019 940 and you look at the number that's on line 3, which is total payments to all employees. So the number you see here, or you can also take a look at your 2019 W3. This is the W3 form, which once again, this is another report that gives you the total amount of wages you paid in payroll in 2019. If you have the W3, you have to take a look at on box 1. Okay, so if you have W3, box 1. If you have the 940, which this is more common, you take a look at box 3. So those numbers you divide by 12 and you multiply by 2.5. And that will give you your correct amount of PPP loan that you should have received from your bank. Now, before we discuss how this will affect your PPP forgiveness, because now everybody got the PPP loan and now everyone is waiting on how to apply for forgiveness, and this will affect your PPP forgiveness. So before we go into that, if you are getting value out of this information and out of this video, we really appreciate if you click the like button, so that way YouTube shows this content to more business owners. And also we would like to know, is your bank already accepting PPP forgiveness applications? And we would like to know that because we know that a lot of banks are still not accepting applications, but we know that many are. So please, in the comment below, please answer the question, is your bank already accepting PPP forgiveness applications? And please name your bank. We would like to know that, and we will appreciate if you answer this question in the comments below. Now, how will this affect your PPP forgiveness? Now, before we talk about this, remember that this is a new program. This is new for everyone. There's no precedent. This has never happened before. This is the PPP program is a completely new program. So it's difficult for the SBA to determine guidelines on how to handle this type of situations. But the SBA has stated that it is your responsibility to check if the PPP loan amount was the correct one before signing the PPP loan contract. So basically the SBA is letting the banks off the hook. So the SBA is saying that your business is the one responsible to check if you got the PPP loan, the PPP funds, and you had to check if you got the correct amount before you signed the contract. Now, during the PPP forgiveness process, the SBA will see if you got the correct amount or not. So if you got more than you should have, when you start your PPP forgiveness process, the SBA will find out. And once again, we don't know if this is going to happen, but the SBA or the bank may say that you have to pay back all those excess funds that you received. Or the SBA or the bank are basically going to say that we are only going to forgive your eligible amount, but whatever you received in excess, that will become a loan with the bank. Now remember, depending on when you got the PPP loan, whatever PPP funds that are not forgiven will turn to a 2 or a 5 year loan with the bank with a 1% interest. Remember, if you got the loan before the PPP loan before June 5th, you have your PPP loan automatically is a 2-year loan. But the SBA said that you can negotiate with your bank to increase it to a 5-year loan. But if you got the PPP loan on or after June 5th, then your PPP loan is a 5-year loan automatically. Okay? Now, what should you do now? If you did the formula, you're now finding out that you got a lot more PPP funds than you should have. What do you do now? You really have to prepare that maybe you will not get 100% PPP loan forgiveness. So you have to prepare to either pay those excess funds back, or you have to prepare that that portion of the PPP loan that will not be forgiven may become a 2 or 5 year loan with a 1% interest rate. That's still a good deal, but obviously it's not as good as having it forgiven. Now, start communicating with your bank. If you're finding out that you got too much funds, start talking with your lender that gave you the PPP funds. Be honest with them and start maybe to come to an agreement with them. We have talked to many bank managers and they're willing to be flexible. Remember, this is new for everyone. So, and I'm sorry. Let me go here. So basically start communicating with your bank if you're finding out you got too much PPP funds. Now, some people are telling me, but Carlos, aren't all PPP loans under $150,000, aren't they going to be automatically forgiven? Remember that right now in Congress, there is a bill that if it gets approved, all PPP loans under $150,000 will get automatic forgiveness. And that's something a lot of business owners are waiting for. But once again, that is not guaranteed. We still have to wait if they approve that and if it does become law. And even if it does get passed and approved into law, the word out of Congress is that you will still need to sign a document certifying that you receive the correct amount of funds and that you use them correctly. And the Congress has said that the SBA, even though they may automatically forgive the PPP loans under $150,000, the SBA said that they may still audit in the future. Okay? And also, we feel that the SBA is only going to auto-forgive PPP loans that are under $20,833. We don't think the SBA, we hope they do, we really hope that they do forgive all the PPPs under $150,000 because that will help a lot of business owners. But we feel that they will forgive automatically PPP loans under $20,833. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we talk about that in this video. We made another video which you should take a look at. This is the thumbnail for that video, and we will put the link in the description of this video, and we will also link it at the end of this video, so you know why we feel that the SBA will only forgive automatically the PPP loans that are under $20,833. Now, for now, don't panic. Okay, if you're finding out that you received too much PPP, don't panic. This is not your fault either, even though we feel it's the bank's fault. But the SBA may help them a lot. They're not going to blame the banks. The banks are in the business of making loans, so they were basically doing their job. But remember, this is not your fault either. You did not do this on purpose, so you were not trying to scam the bank or make any type of fraud. Let's everybody keep calm, but really start communicating with your lender and your bank. If you have seen that you received too much PPP, start talking to your CPA, start talking to your business attorney, and start talking to your bank. That's the best thing you can do right now to make a plan. Now stay calm and remember that God is our refuge and our strength and our ever-present help in trouble. We can always rest in God that He will help us in any type of problems we may have. Now remember to subscribe to this channel and remember to click the little notification bell. That's every time we post a new video, you get notified, and watch this suggested video where we explain why the SBA may only forgive $20,833 PPP loans. Thank you for watching this video. God bless you. Bye-bye.